Hello. Once again, I'm here. My name is Emeka Livingstone. I just want to do a follow-up of what I said yesterday, the video I made. I had a birthday party of a friend just somewhere close to where I'm living, in Randallstown here. And while we're there, I met some friends. And we're talking. Because of my very passionate view about Biafra, we had discussions and exchanged ideas. So from what we discussed, I had certain things I could glean from them. And I want to use that to talk to IPOB members. First of all, I'd like to use a biblical comparison before I begin to get to Nnamdi Kanu. When Jesus came to Jerusalem to preach the gospel, people had come before him, but they did not have much impact on the lives of the Pharisees, the publicans, and the crowd. Because let's take, for example, a person like Judas Maccabees, in the Apocrypha, those 5 uninspired Gospels which you find in a Catholic Bible. Or you talk about Barabbas. Or those that were destroyed at the Tower, when Jesus made mention of them. Their leaders were against the system, but they had no alternative that could provide answers to questions. So when Jesus came, he had an alternative to, one, the wicked and uncomfortable Roman system of governance that humiliated the Jews. Number 2, he had an alternative to the Pharisaic system of hypocritically saying they were disciples of Moses but never keeping the law. So these two people could not give the Jews a roadmap to a better life. So when Jesus came, he began to preach and he showed them an alternative. That means he had an ideology. He had an idea. He had in mind what he wanted the people to take home that will be with them all the days of their lives. So if you want to follow a leader, that leader must be principled like Jesus is and must have an ideology. Jesus' ideology was the message God gave to him from heaven, which he taught the Jews to be an alternative to Jewish customs that the Pharisees could not fulfill because they were hypocritical, or the wicked and fiendish Roman system of governance that put pressure on the people and exerted a lot of taxes and pressure on them. So, in the outer world, I'm talking now, a leader of an ideology may not be good, but he has an idea. People follow him. How much more somebody who is good, who has principles and has proved it? People should follow him. Chairman Mao Zedong had an alternative to the kind of government other countries were running, an alternative to capitalism. So they brought about communism in socialist states like Russia. They brought communism in China. And Mao Zedong was able to garner a lot of support and followership from people because they believed in the man's vision. They stood behind him. They stood strongly behind him. So he was able to accomplish that vision within a short time. Wherever you have voices of dissent in the life of a man that has a vision, an ideology, it delays the progress walk to victory. into entering that frontier of victory and glory that we are striving. There are people in IPOB who pay their dues, but they are not entirely on the same page with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and that is wrong. Because it is not just your money that you give. I like that one. But further than that, you must believe in the man's ideology. He has an alternative to what's going on in Nigeria, at least for the Biafrans. I cannot say for the Yorubas or the Middle Belterners, but I know he has an alternative for the Biafrans. And if you begin to sabotage him from under, if you are in IPOB and any little thing, maybe Mefo did something and some people are siding Mefo and they are going back to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, it shows that you're not stable, you're not reliable. Because this guy has proved himself to be a man of his word. I left Government College Umuahia in 1979. Nnamdi Kanu just entered that same year. So by all standards, we are not mates. But that young man has an ideology. He has a vision. God saw him. God saw me, but gave it to him. So what do? Either I follow his ideology or I stay alone and stop criticizing him. I follow his ideology because I know he has something to offer which I don't have, because that is not my area of operation. Basically, my area of operation is preaching the gospel. But I have to speak where I see injustice going on, killing Christians, and then particularizing on Igbos. God didn't make any mistake in making me an Igbo man. And therefore, if it becomes expedient, I have to protect my people, even if it means talking and putting my life on the line. That is the truth. Nimrod in the Bible had an idea on how he'll gather the whole world and build the Tower of Babel. And people followed him, even though his idea was evil. If you want to work with a man, stop all these bickerings. Work with him. Nnamdi Kanu is not just educated, he's a learned guy. And he does his research. He comes out with facts and figures. This mentality of the Igbos not having a king, it's playing negatively into this man's struggle for the liberation of us, you and I, in the long run. Not only himself, all of us. I come from Arochukwu. It is only in Aro land that you had a king. Until recently, the kingship in Aro was highly reverenced. I remember when Obasanjo came to Aro, I think 1979 or 78, within that period, he visited the king of Aro. When he came to East Central State, he visited the kingdom of Arochukwu to see the king, the Ezaro. And he's so highly respected because kingship in Aro is by inheritance. It comes from a particular family lineage. And therefore they respected the king of Aro, not until when he died as a Kanoji that we now have an interplay of others who are maybe rich and educated and politicizing the whole thing. The man who is supposed to be there is not given the chance, or maybe has political ambition, has affiliates. The Ezaro of Arochukwu had no political affiliate, no ambition. Therefore, Obasanjo could leave Dodan Barracks and come down to Arochukwu to respect that man, because it's good for a man to be principled. I know that the Oba of Benin was highly respected, but if you take his historical antecedent, he was the one that advised Gowon to dishonor the agreement that was reached in Aburi between General Ankara, between Ojukwu and Gowon, in the presence of General Ankara, the most senior military officer in the West African sub-region. It was the former Oba of Benin that died. He was the one, or Polopolo, or what, two, or whatever. He was the one that advised Gowon. He was a very senior civil servant not to respect that agreement. And that was why Gowon was reluctant in making mention of what they agreed in Aburi. When Ojukwu had waited for a time and it wasn't coming forth, he had to make the proclamation, and he was considered to be rebellious. I want Igbos to come to understanding. If you make contribution to IPOB to work, don't just give the money, buy the idea of Nnamdi Kanu. He is the leader the Igbos have now. Every other leader I have seen so far had followership, especially within the communist countries. They had followership, but also based on intimidation. Hitler had followership, it was based on intimidation. Nnamdi Kanu's own is voluntary. Everybody is coming out because we have seen a man who can speak the truth, stand by it, pay the price. He listens. Somebody was telling me that he needs to listen to people. Nnamdi Kanu has never walked alone. I've been following what he's been saying on Facebook. I've been listening to him. He has never walked alone. And when he is running a program where he talks to people, an interactive program, people talk. He listens to them and they make their contribution. If it is not buyable, he doesn't buy it. If it is, he buys it. Because he's the leader. He has the vision. He is not going to listen to various voices of dissent. Otherwise, he'll be confused. The young man must have direction and he's maintaining it. That is why I stand by him. I'm not going to carry arms to fight. I'm going to speak. I'm going to pray. I'm going to preach. But the truth is, that young man has been doing an excellent job. All those of you who are some IPOB members who are not really sure of themselves, you follow this man, you have to stand inside one lane with Nnamdi Kanu and let him take us there. Don't be afraid. Nothing negative will happen to us. The fight for revolution was never said to be easy. It was long, time-consuming, and sacrificial. He has sacrificed his own. So if it becomes expedient for us to make sacrifices at the expense of our life, then what is wrong with it? Why is it that people of our own origin, tribal origin, fail to understand this thing that we have a leader? It's not a good thing, because even the Jews had kings where we claim to trace our lineage from. The Jews had kings in the Old Testament time, until Jesus came, that we don't have any other king again in Israel, because the Bible says the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, because he is the one, he is the anointed one. So the moment Christ came, kingship rested and ended with Christ. As far as Israel is concerned, they have one king. His name is Jesus Christ. So Igbo land, when we came, if you trace our genealogy, I'm from Aruchuku. I can tell you a little bit about how the Arus came about, as those who came as diaspora from Israel into this place, and we still maintained that kingship. But I'm not here to promote the Aru culture. No, put it aside. What I'm saying is, we have a leader. His name is Nnamdi Kanu. Don't look at him that you are more intelligent than him, or you have more money, or you are more exposed. Because if God wanted, he would have left him and would have chosen you. When David was chosen, when he wanted to be king, he ran out into the wilderness. 400 men followed him. And these men were committed to David. They bought his ideology. They believed in him. This David was a womanizer. He had wives. But those men were looking at the vision this young man had. Until later on, David was made the king of Judah first, before he was made the king of Israel. It was the strength he gathered from support from members of the tribe of Judah that gave David impetus to come. And the Israelites now said, we want to hand over kingship to you. Nnamdi Kanu has not said he wants to be the president of Biafra. He said he wants the liberation of Biafra. Why can't we just because Fane Pun and Igbo, the Igbo Enweze, and Omen that we don't cooperate. Why is it that you will always think that it must come from your father's land, or your tribe, or your village, or your local government? We have one young man from Omaya. God has raised him up. Because I've heard him talk about the black man so many times. Yes, I have a different opinion about the black man from the biblical perspective. I've written a book called My Black Biblical Heritage. You can get it in Amazon if you go there. My Black Biblical Heritage by Emeka Livingstone. I gave an expose about the black man from the biblical perspective. So he's only speaking based on the frustrations he has seen, the way black men react to situations and circumstances. So that one is different, but I'm only just telling you that this is what has happened. I have a book to that effect. But let's get back to the message. The message is that this young man has a vision. Don't compare him with any other professor of law or mathematics in Igbo land. For God saw all those men before he chose Nnamdi Kanu. All those men are Bible. They don't have the guts. God saw Shammah, he saw Eliab, and decided to choose David, who was a shepherd boy in the field. And David turned out to be a good shepherd in Israel. So stop looking down on somebody. Makina, I and I'm we are intelligent people. Let's stand behind the young man. Let him give us Biafra. This was how they sabotaged Ojukwu during the war. He spent his father's money and resources to execute that war. He never earned a dime. It cost him a lot. It cost him leaving this country, Nigeria, and running away to Ivory Coast. He went there and became. We had trucks, tippers that were picking sand and delivering inside to make money. He brought himself. So this is an Oxford trained graduate. So you see how Ojukwu humbled himself and still rose up to that level. Nnamdi Kanu told the same line and even went further, to the extent that he has lost so many things. And yet you see people saying, why must it be him? You should go and meet so and so person. Is this person that will introduce him? That's the mentality of stupidity. Because for a revolution to take place, the man who is going to handle revolution must not be popular. It must not be a known personality, because known personalities are already corrupted by the system. It must be somebody that is coming from outside, who does not like what is going on inside, and is coming up with a different idea. He's thinking out of the box. That is why when you meet Nnamdi Kanu, he has the history of Biafra at his fingertips. I have been educated a lot by what he has said concerning Biafra. Why are you against him? How do you expect Igbos will be free from dominance of the Fulani hegemony or possibly the Islamic agenda? How do you think? If Obiano wants to be recognized that they are the ones who are the governors, you have to gather them. All these are corrupted political vagabonds. We don't need them. We need somebody who is clean, who is you can't buy him. He's standing on his own. Because if Nnamdi Kanu wanted money, he would have allowed Nigeria to buy him. If they give him 100 billion naira, that's enough to take care of him all the days of his life. He refused to take that because he's considering you and I. So why should I, Emeka Livingstone, sabotage Nnamdi Kanu? I have watched him, I've listened to him, I've heard him speak, I've heard his researches, I've heard his presentation. I say, yeah, this guy's got stuff. And I'm backing him up for the liberation of my own people, including me. I'm not doing Nnamdi Kanu any favor. On the contrary, he put his life on the line to do us a favor, and we appreciate it. So, as much as you are contributing to IPOB financially, please stay in the same page with the leader of IPOB. His name is Nnamdi Kanu. Encourage him. Let me tell you something. Elijah was one of the most difficult masters I have ever seen in life. I read in the Bible. He made life very, very difficult for Elisha. He had his shortcomings. Elijah was a man that could easily get offended. But Elisha did not look at those shortcomings. He followed his Oga till the end. When he told him, give me a double portion of yourself, he told you have asked the hard thing. Nevertheless, if you see me being taken, it shall be done unto you. He didn't give it to him free. And that guy saw him when he was leaving. That was how he got he took that mantle. So you must follow a man. This guy is not difficult to deal with. Anybody that finds Nnamdi difficult to do it is because that person does not stand in the truth in this whole issue. Nnamdi Kanu will not hide anything. He wants it straight, just like that. It is the same in the Christian faith. If you are a preacher of righteousness, you don't like doing corner. A lot of people will not like you. People like those preachers that will come and tell them the thing they want to hear. How they prophesy to them that their bank account will just increase. That girl is putting on green pants. Your father's father, his name was this thing. Will operate and then remove them. You make money. People just want to hear things that will encourage them in their flesh. They don't want to serve God. And that's the same thing with this young man. When Winston Churchill came up in Britain, Britain was in dire need of a leader. He came up. They had more other intellectuals than Winston Churchill. But they stood behind him and encouraged the man until the war was executed. It was when he wanted to contest election that he failed. So it shows that the British were not stupid. A man had an idea, they followed him. Mussolini had an idea, they followed him. Hitler had an idea, they followed him. Lenin had an idea, they followed him. Mahatma Gandhi had an idea, people followed him. Chairman Mao Zedong had an idea, they followed him. King Jong-un's father had an idea, they followed him. And most of these men were wicked men. Nnamdi Kanu is not wicked, he's not that kind of person. He has taken time to explain, to talk, to reveal his innermost desire for Biafra. You have a person like, I don't want to call him into this matter, because what Ojukwu did to Kensaro Wiwa is what I want Nnamdi Kanu to do to Asari Dokubo. Kensaro Wiwa was just making noise and trying to challenge Ojukwu on air, maybe in the media, talking. So one day they were asking Ojukwu, why is it that all that Kensaro Wiwa has been saying, you don't want to respond? Ojukwu said, there's no need responding to him. He doesn't want it. That if he responds, the media will carry it. Ojukwu responds to Kensaro Wiwa, and that will make Kensaro Wiwa popular. So he decided to keep quiet and didn't talk to Kensaro Wiwa because his comments were irrelevant. And when Ojukwu said that thing, Kensaro Wiwa's case just ended within the River State sub-region of Delta region. That was where it ended. So when you, Asari Dokubo is talking, please, nobody should, I'm appealing to a leader, don't talk to him. We know what you have in mind. We know your program. We know your plans. We know your agenda. We know your vision. We know the passion in which you are carrying out everything that is in your life. We know it. So when the time comes, everybody will see who is who. So I'm appealing to you, to us Biafrans. Let's stay in the same page. The leader will have is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They didn't say that everybody that follows him might be polite. A lot of IPOB members can abuse you, or that thing Nnamdi Kanu cannot control because people are talking. When you're running a revolution, you don't expect all the followers there to be educated. There are those who are not. There are those who see things only from the leader's perspective, and that's it. If you don't agree, fine. You can go to hell. That's what they think. Because for me, I believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe in any other prophet. I don't believe in any other religion. It's Jesus Christ and him crucified. So any other religion that exists on earth, as far as I'm concerned, they are all waste of time. They are candidates from the pit of hell. And I have biblical proofs. All their leaders died and did not resurrect. Jesus was the only man that resurrected. So that gives Christianity hope, assurance, and confidence that since a servant is never greater than his master, if Jesus resurrected and I was not held down by the grave or by death in the grave, I that believe in Jesus, the same power that resurrected Jesus from the grave will raise me up again on the last day to be with him. Yes, that's my faith. So if you believe any other man apart from Christ, did your Savior rise from the dead? No. Did your prophet rise from the dead? No. So where he is, there you'll be, because a servant is never greater than his master. Now, Nnamdi Kanu has come up with an idea. Emeka Livingstone never had that kind of idea. I had passion for the Igbo people. Yes, that's right. I believe so much in what Ikemba was doing. Ikemba smokes. He doesn't have, very serious moral this thing. But he had a vision. I'm looking at the vision of Ikemba, and I followed it. I had this thing in my spirit over the years until God brought somebody who is more informed about it than myself, because that is the area God called him to function. I have an area that God called me to function. I am a minister. If you want, we can discuss Bible from every dimension and perspective. I have read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation 15 times. I have done New Testament. I've read it more than 40 times or 50 in my life. So that is my own area of functionality. But I am seeing a young man that God has raised up to speak against injustice perpetrated towards the Igbos and other tribes in general in Nigeria, from the Middle Belt, even the Northeast, Northwest, Southwest. He came up. The liberation of Biafra is going to go a long way to help the liberation of other sections of the country. The Middle Belt people are coming to their understanding now. They now know that Gowon didn't do it right. So please, I appeal to you, Biafrans, IPOB members, let us stay in the same page, the same lane. Ahead of us, there is a man that God is leading. His name is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. As God led the children of Israel out of Egypt, he raised a man called Moses. He had his staff and went in front. They followed him. All those that wanted to rebel against Moses, that they were wiser, even Aaron and Miriam. Miriam had leprosy from God. And from what Aaron did, his ministry ended. And God told him when you get to Mount Pisgah that you should remove his clothes and put it in another person. Aaron died there. God does not make mistakes. Chineke aga emecha ohucha ya kpọ Nnamdi Kanu, then mbia pụtasị no ihe Chineke mere adịghị mma, therefore it shouldn't be Nnamdi Kanu, it should be me, Emeka Livingstone. God forbid. What I do is to follow the man that God has raised up. When he finished, we'll continue from there. He may not be perfect, but he's doing his job. No man is perfect, including you, nor I. God bless you and have a nice day. Let us all live as one, for Biafra is a given.